Hello, I am Deb Coviello, the Drop-In CEO, and welcome to another show where week after week I bring the most amazing leaders who share their insights and hopefully inspire you. And just know I do this week after week because I sincerely care about the C-suite leader to help them navigate their challenges with confidence. And I know this week's guests are going to do exactly that. I have the great pleasure of bringing back onto the show Jack Brendamore, as well as his Chief Operations Officer, Jason Lefker. So, Jack is the CEO and co owner of Junk King in the Cincinnati, Dayton, Northern Kentucky area. He is dedicated to community, dedicated to his family, but he is all about not just the CEO role, but also giving back to humanity. We're going to dig so much into his background. And also, I am grateful to have his Chief Operations Officer who oversees the day-to-day operations, ensuring the company's mission of eco-friendly junk removal and outstanding customer care is consistently made. Sings to my heart because I've been an operations officer, but I love this last quote from Jason. Success for me isn't just about growing the business. It's about building relationships, giving back, and making a positive impact on the communities we have. It is my pleasure, Jack, Jason. Thank you for dropping in.
Thank you
So
for
great to
having
be
me.
here.
So my audience, Jack and I go back a few years. A shout out to Julie Heil for introducing us. He is a past guest on the show. He was outstanding. And when I connected with him again, he says, "Oh, I would love to be on your show again. So much has changed, but so much has not. And let's bring on Jason, his partner in crime, to the show." So we are going to have an amazing conversation. But Jack, I would love to share a bit about yourself as well as the great work that you all do at Junking.
Absolutely. Oh, I could go on for days about the great work at Junk King. Um, but yeah, again, great to be here. Great to be back. Junk King is a franchise system, and there's 130 or so franchises. But our franchise group, being in Cincinnati and Dayton, is the largest, or at least one of the largest, kind of back and forth. And so we've kind of had a path unpaved for us. As a franchise system, we are America's greenest junk removal company. But when it comes to community and environmental focus, our team, Jason, Julie, as you mentioned, we have so many amazing people that really have taken a service like junk removal that you would never expect to be so valuable to an area and made it into such a great thing. So very excited to talk about it today and for you to hear from Jason, who's been my right hand man, and we've been through battle together, I like to say.
Yeah, so Jason, I'd love to hear a little bit more about yourself and your time at Junking as well.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. Like I was saying before, I've been with the company since 2015. Uh, every day is an adventure. It's so every day is different. You never know what you're going to walk into. But our main objective is to create a culture here where guys want to come to work, want to work hard, and are willing to help people. And that's the biggest thing that we do for people is we help them do things that they don't want to do for themselves or they can't do for themselves. Uh, Whether it be tearing down a shed or removing a fence or getting that old 600-pound brick of a TV you put in your basement 35 years ago, getting that sucker out of there. Yeah, times have changed and they weigh a lot more than they used to. But just coaching guys up and not just in their workspace, but also in their outer life space, how they can be big contributors to the community at large, as well as a big contributor here at Junk King. So those are things that we strive for every day.
But I'm going to go here early in the conversation as you talk about culture. And again, I remember a conversation with Jack a while ago when we first met. I said, "What keeps you up at night?" And he says, "One of the things is we were family business. And as we get larger, um, maintaining that connectivity to each individual person can sometimes be a challenge as you grow, which is necessary to service the community, but also to maintain that culture." So I'd love if one of you could talk about what is core to your culture and how do you maintain that?
Oh, I'll jump in here first. From the start of our franchise group, the gentleman who started, Pete McCrary, his vision is what's come to life. So he was incredibly integrity filled. He wanted to build our employees into, as Jason was just saying, into better people, not just for the company, but also for themselves, for their family, for their neighbors. And so it's really something we work on constantly. As I had mentioned, with it being difficult for me from going to knowing hobbies of all my employees to, as we grew to 70, 80 employees, is losing that touch a bit with every single employee. I now have learned how to lean on leaders like Jason and our different management team to pick up where that gap was, where I was filling that gap before. So Jason and I watched the company grow together. We both learned a lot in our youth, with losing the guy who started the company, Pete, overnight in an accident. And so it's really a team effort, in order to scale. I know it's so important to delegate and put balls in other employees' courts that will do a good job for you.
I have so many questions to ask you because it's almost like I'm seeing you for the first time, and so this is going to be amazing. But I want you to go a little bit deeper into what is it that you really do about with the community, because I think that's what really differentiates you. Again, a junk removal company, but what is it that you actually do as the greater outcome or purpose of your company?
Well, I'll say our core values, our last core value is have fun.
Woohoo!
And the way people interpret that is the obvious. You want to have some fun while doing business and running a successful business. But Jason describes this perfectly. And I'll actually want him to jump in and describe how he describes it to our crew as we onboard new employees and whatnot, how having fun for us means a little something different. And I think Jason would be great to answer that question.
Yeah, liken it to winning, right? Winning isn't always having the highest point total on the scoreboard at the end of the game. It's the lessons that you've learned throughout that process, right? And it's the takeaways that you're going to take away from that loss. Even though the other team might have scored more points than you didn't necessarily lose the game. The battle's still a big one. Like the Bengals, we fought a lot of games and lost, right? We ended up ultimately losing the battle this season. But we'll take those lessons we learned this season and carry those on. But having fun for us is helping the customer. That's fun. Having fun for us is that immediate gratification you get knowing that somebody genuinely appreciates what you do for them. And every day, that's what we do for people. We do things for people that they can't do for themselves or they don't want to do for themselves for whatever the reason may be. So we like to win. And so having fun isn't necessarily, always joking around and high-fiving people all day long. Having fun in the process is being successful. Having a tip in your pocket at the end of the day is always nice too. But you just being with your teammates, communicating all day long, building good relationships with the customers that you're with for the time that you're with them, so that it's a lasting memory. Our guys go into these homes. They don't go into somebody's house. They don't go into somebody's apartment. These are our customers' homes. And so that's how we look at it. From the first day a guy walks into our office, when we're training them on how to interact with our customers, the first thing we want them to be aware of, hey, you're not going to your buddy's place or your friend's crib. You're going to someone's home. So we want them to respect it and treat it that way.
I really love about this. We were talking about sports before we actually got onto this. I'm a curler. I throw stones on ice, and there is a tremendous amount of teamwork in that. And I'm now preparing to go to a national women's event this week. And we had a practice. We practiced against other teams. And we didn't always win. We actually lost in some cases against a less experienced team. But what we got out of that was what our initial intent was. We wanted to develop chemistry. We wanted to develop communication amongst ourselves to withstand any situation. And sometimes you'll win some and sometimes you lose some. But the outcome was to build that cohesive team, to be safe during our endeavor, to have fun. And if we happen to win or get that tip, that's icing on the cake. But one of the things you really said, and that's why I'm smiling here for those of you who see us on the YouTube channel, is the differentiation between a house and a home. Also, in curling, the bullseye where we throw our stones is called a house. But when we welcome people into our club on our fireplace, they said, "Welcome to our home," which is about the community and the impact on lives. So I'm smiling here. But what I would love potentially is a story. When you say you go into people's homes and yes, you provide a service, what's an example of the impact or emotional impact you've had on somebody because of the work that you've done?
I'll jump in there. So to circle back to the have fun, it's everything Jason said, and then on the back end, what we do with the items we remove from homes and businesses and getting them back into the community. And there's just I want to tell this story. It came right to my mind because we're just past the holidays now, but there's a local nonprofit, Operation Blue Ash or Operation Give Back in Blue Ash, Ohio. And they had found out a mother and her three sons were living in their car for like 7, 8 months. And they called us a few weeks before Christmas. They said, "Hey, Jack, we got this family an apartment, but they don't have anything. Do you happen to have just mattresses that they can sleep on tonight?" And we get a lot of good, guest bedroom mattresses or even new mattresses at times. And I said, "Sure, bring them on down." And they came right away. And we ended up providing pots and pans, TV, nightstands, couches, everything for this family. And that is having fun. But the special, extra special part to this story is she was going to leave and we stopped her and I asked if she'd like a Christmas tree. We get a lot of decorations with people downsizing. And this lady just stopped in her tracks. She started bawling. She said, "I've never had a Christmas tree in my life. I never expected my children to have a Christmas tree. And Junk King just made me feel human again for the first time in so long." And that to us is having fun. Stories like that every day, every week, every month. There is something that someone on our team can tell you about of an impact we made more than just going out and providing our service.
There's a story like that every day. There really is. And we help people so much that we don't even know how much we are really helping people.
This was beautiful. First of all, I'm standing right now and I got goosebumps going down my legs right now. But also, again, this is why we're here because we do it because we care and we don't know who we're actually directly or indirectly impacting. So we're going to talk after here. Sign me up. You never know. And anybody out there that is really resonating with the purposeful work at Junk King, what Jack and Jason are doing, again, I'm just going to ask you just to take a mental note and check them out because, again, it's not just about the service. Oh my God, goes to my actual one of my mantras. It's about leaving a lasting impact. Whew.
We call that gaining customers for life. and that's what we do. We have many ambassadors just like you. After you came and toured our recycling center, how many people have you told about Junk King or told them how great of our company we are? And yes, there's the marketing aspect to it that's part of why we do it, but it really is. I truly believe that any company not outwardly going green and community focused, at least in home services, isn't going to be the best at what they do in their city. So we'd make a lot more money if we dumped everything and just operated out of a small office, but that's not who I am, not who Jason is, and not who our team is. So it's really special what we get to do.
So let's talk about then what differentiates you. You have some statistics, I think, from 2023 that might be able to have people relate to the impact you're actually having.
We do. We do. Began tracking things. So as we graduate out of that small business feel, we began tracking things. And last year we kept over 2.1 million pounds out of Cincinnati's landfill. And to put that in perspective for your listeners, that is equivalent to about 185 school buses worth of weight or 11 Boeing 727 airplanes. And that's just our little small business making an impact. It's special when you see other businesses in the community stepping up after they see what we're doing and taking that extra effort to do what's right and know that you'll gain great customers because of what you do as well.
So one of the things is people can learn from your business model. So you're local to the Cincinnati, Kentucky area. So I've got a lot of listeners in that area. What opportunities are there for people to see and learn about what you're doing? Because you were very kind for me to also see your operations. So how can people maybe connect with you and learn from you?
We're pretty open to having groups in, even individuals. We everyone from Boy Scout to Girl Scout, kindergarten through college. We have leadership groups through chambers and universities that come. They can utilize our conference room for an hour or an entire day. Um, Nonprofit boards. Every week we have several groups come in, use our conference room. We like to talk to them for 5 minutes and tell them about Junk King, of course, and give them a tour. But it's special because you get out there and you don't understand that styrofoam never decomposes. 14 million pounds are being made a year, 30% of our landfills, and it's highly toxic. And so much is being thrown away where we actually will recycle styrofoam for free for people. And that's just one item, everything down to carpet padding, clothing, handicap equipment, medical supplies, paint,
American flags.
American flags. Jason,
Yeah.
if you want to talk about the Young Marines of Cincinnati, what we did recently, it was really special too.
Yeah, we there's only really one way you can properly retire an American flag. It's through the American Legion typically, or you could turn to the Boy Scouts of America, Girl Scouts of America. There was a third one too, but the Young Marines, I think, was the third one that you could turn your American flags in to properly retire. What we do here at Junk King is we have some vets that will fold our flags for us, and we'll display them in a case in our front office. And then once that case is full, we'll take those to the American Legion where they're properly retired. But this past year, now Jack was actually there. We had the what is it, the Young Marines?
Young Marines of Cincinnati,
Young
yes.
Marines of Cincinnati. They had their ceremony, their retirement ceremony for their flags here on site. And Jack can really attest to how emotional and meaningful and impactful it was. He brought his son to the ceremony, which I thought was really cool.
Oh, it was a day I'll never forget. We find a lot of times we'll remove boxes or bins from basements and there's 2 or 3 old tattered flags. And it might even be a family member of the past that it was their military flag. And if you call our competitors, they take it to the dump. You call us, we have our ceremony, but we had almost 500 flags that they came and they had burn barrels in our parking lot and did the whole ceremony. And then they let the kids line up and put some flags in the burn barrels. And it just, we fully respect our services and military. And it was just a special day to see those extra steps having such an impact on the community.
So let's shine a light on you a little bit because of this work. You do it because it's the right thing to do. It's your core value. I often think about, you're a service, your community service organization that just happens to be enabled through the process of junk removal. But I'm curious about recognition that this company has received because of the work that you've done. I know there's a lot, but is there one or several that you're particularly proud of that how the community has recognized you back?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think there's a chamber we're part of that there's an award show where we don't get nominated or win some community award. And to us, that's as the best award we can win. But 2 really special ones that stick out. The Better Business Bureau of Cincinnati had us win the Torch Award for ethics 2 years ago. And what a special award that is. That everything we do is integrity based, and even if it's not best for the business, we try and always put that foot forward, what's best for the world. And so that was a special one. And then the International Franchise Association, there were 5 criteria to win this award out of 800,000 franchises or so in the United States. We won the International Franchisee of the Year award last year, and they flew 9 of our team members to Las Vegas and brought us up to receive it. And it was just really special. It was sustainability, perseverance, which losing our leader, Pete, overnight, community, culture, and I forget the 5th criteria, but we just happened to check every box perfectly. And, the awards to us are more about the impact we're making and not what's sitting on a glass shelf when you walk in. And getting our team home safely is our number one award every day.
That's beautiful. But you're so prolific. I think you, before we jumped on here, you talk about 50, 52 or so nonprofits that you support or are connected with in some way. I mean, tell me a little bit more about that. That is huge. And why so many? And how can you manage all that? I mean, it's a beautiful thing that you're doing all that work.
Big team effort. As you know, when you walk in our recycling center, there's the first room, all glass windows. It's our nonprofit showcase. And the logos of all these different nonprofits we helped are up on the wall, and we educate people about them. And, you know, it's there's little things. How can other people get involved? It's children's books. There's side by side through Block Ministries, where their sole purpose, or one of their main purposes, are providing children's books to the youth in Cincinnati, where I'm told by them that 70% of children don't have a single book in the inner city of Cincinnati. And like, I'm sitting here at my house right now, my children, my 3 young children, we have stacks of books, and I can't imagine that. So what it does is it drives us to make that effort to pull everything off a truck, to sort it. And we provided 20,000 children's books to Side by Side last year, just by doing our service. And so it's things like that. Yeah, it's over 50 nonprofits, but it's not always truckloads of furniture like we send to Habitat for Humanity or New Life Furniture Bank. It's little things like children's books, or sending handicap equipment to Matthew 25 Ministries. And it's taken 14 years of doing this to build the network we built, but we know who needs what, when they need it, and we provide it to them.
Oh, that's beautiful. But I want to get now, I mean, this is beautiful, this conversation, but I want to shine a light a little bit on your business, just to understand, like now, I mean, I know there's always challenges, but like, what are your current challenges from a business perspective? Again, your charitable work is absolutely amazing, but what do you face with now, and how are you approaching this? Because again, you're growing, you want to sustain client base, et cetera, but what keeps you up at night now? I
Jason
think
does a good job not keeping me up at night as the operating officer, but it's been a hard few years. Yeah,
okay.
owning a business is not easy. Running a business is not easy. Everyone knows that. Who's been in positions of at the top of an organization, and the economy after COVID, and then the economy. It's the good thing is junk doesn't go anywhere for us. So we holding on to our team has been an absolute win for us. Things are starting to turn. It's made us turn rocks over that we never would have looked at if we kept our 30, 40, 50% growth like we did for so many years. So it's really made us take a step back, try some new things, evaluate what's working and what's not. And I think we're going to come out of the last few years stronger than we would have ever been if the last few years didn't happen. So Jason has been amazing, rolling with whatever crazy thing I bring to our leadership meeting each week, and making it happen.
So Jason, COO, CEO, it can be an interesting dynamic. So what do you bring to the table that balances or complements Jack in his leadership?
Well, I have a simple motto. It's just make it happen. Um, sometimes Jack will ask me to make things happen just aren't realistic, but we, we do our best to make those things happen too. But honestly, at the end of the day, it's just dealing with people, and everybody has a button that if you know what button to push, you can get things done pretty quickly. But that comes with communication and learning about your employees, and learning about, you have to ask the questions. You can't be just a blind observer when you walk in the office. Asking guys, it's how's your day, or how are you? It's how's Tina, how's Luke, how was your weekend? Did you guys go to the movie like you said you were going to on Friday?
Mhm.
It's just those little conversations, those that they realize you actually care about them. And so when you build those relationships, you have to nurture them. And the biggest part of nurturing them is communication. It's a daily thing where every morning, you want to communicate with the guys. And I drive the guys crazy, because when they come in here at 7:30 or 7 o'clock in the morning, I am on 9. I'm at a 9 when they come in the door.
You've had like 3 cups of coffee. Go, go, go.
But I stay at a 9 all day. But if they, it's kind of like something that they want to achieve. Like they always say, I wish I had your energy. I wish I had your, well, by the time they leave to go after their job, I probably got them to a 7.5 or an 8. So, by that time you get them to the door, hopefully it's a 10. But just communicate. and nurture those relationships in your company.
I mean, that's sound advice, even for my business. I'm a small business owner, and greatest advice I got from a sales coach was it's not about the sales, but it's about building rapport and relationships and being top of mind. I actually have heeded that advice. Again, it takes discipline, it's important. And I'm starting to see some relationships starting to flourish or grow as a result of that. So, again, invest in people. Everybody's busy, but if you stay top of mind and show people you care, they're going to take care of you back. Now, I'm not closing the show yet, but I've got this vast network out there. You never know who's listening. As you guys think about, the future of your company, who are you looking to connect with? What kind of people, leaders, community experts, et cetera, would be of value that you would love to connect with, and why?
Well, we're constantly working on ourselves, so for us, we're always open to any conversation, any type of leadership growth we'll look at. There's good leaders steal things from great leaders, right? And so we understand that it's a constantly evolving process out there, and you have to stay on top of training and new trends, and oh my goodness, this new AI age, and have a foot in front of your competition. And so everything's an opportunity for us. We absolutely, every customer, from someone who does one job with us or a property manager who can hire us 300 times a year, we'll treat the same. And that's what's so special about our team, is we really treat everyone the same and treat them right.
The really difference that separates our business from any other business I've ever been a part of is that it's not a matter of if somebody needs our service. It's a matter of when. So there's no like bad connection, because any person that we're connected with is a potential customer at some point, because everybody's got too much stuff.
I know. I mean, my husband just made a shipment over to Matthew 25 because we knew at least where to bring it directly. But if we don't have time to sort and divide and conquer, your service can be of great value. When I think about the future, though, because we may be having this interview today and I don't put a date on it, but I want to make sure that I or my audience support you in the future. So, I mean, what do you see as the future of Junk King? I mean, you've got 2 locations. I mean, I know it's a franchise, but I mean, you treat it like your own business. What's the future for your team? I just want to make sure somebody out there or myself is part of that future.
Well, we're the first company in a lot of cases when a family member passes away, or you're needing to downsize, whether it be into a nursing home or you're helping a family member out or a neighbor. We're the first company in. And after you take all of those things that were stored for years, thinking your children might want them, and they don't, with our society becoming more minimalist and moving more often.
Yeah.
What I picture someday is we do 10,000 jobs a year in Cincinnati and Dayton. And what I picture, and we picture someday, our vision is to have other home services or whatever it may be, where you don't think of the electrical, the plumbing, the landscaping, the roofing, the painting. I may have mentioned painting already, but there's so many things that in someone's older age they might neglect in their home, that once you show them how great of a service you have, why wouldn't they want to use your sister company or someone you highly recommend? So we may build those relationships with other companies, or we may start other companies ourselves. But right now it's full gas forward on junk removal, and we look forward to what the future has.
Yeah, I could definitely speak to that myself because again, I am, the solopreneur, but I've got, team around me, but it's not what I do directly, but it's all those referral relationships. So again, I can't do everything, but I know people in my network that can provide my clients a valuable service. So I do look forward to that growth and staying close to you. And if there's anybody out there that just wants a conversation because quite frankly, they like Jason, they like Jack, I just want to get to know them. But again, you do some amazing stuff as a service, but also for the community. This is not the end of our conversation or relationship, but I want to bring it to a close and offer both of you the opportunity for a few last messages or ways to get a hold of you, Jason and then Jack.
Well, thank you again for having us. We really appreciate it. I I guess the one thing I would want to leave everybody with is, like I said before, it's not a matter of if you need our service, it's a matter of when. And then what separates us from our competition? Well, our competition is a one-time call. You're gonna only call them one time. We're gonna earn your business for life because we're gonna treat you right and we're gonna do what's right with your items on the back end. Our competition is going to go straight to the dump and on to the next job. They probably make more money than we do. I guarantee you they do, because they're only handling these items one time, where we're handling them 2, 3, and 4 times. But we want to make sure that each of those items make its way to the proper place to somebody that can actually use them. So, when we're talking to a customer, and, most of our customers are dealing with a property transfer or they're downsizing or they're whatever the case may be, they have set value and sentiments to every single item in their home. So our guys are taught to be empathetic and understand that people really care about these items. So when we're loading them onto our truck, when we're pulling them off our truck, it's like they would do it if they were doing it themselves. So that we make sure those items find the proper place in a good condition so they can create new memories with a new family and they can live on forever. So that's really what separates us when it comes to the nuts and bolts of it. And that's why we're in business.
And that is beautiful because I'm now dealing with my mother who is not ready to move, but everything is precious and she has 82 years worth of things. And she will only give something away if she knows she's handing it off to somebody. Nothing goes in the garbage. So again, that emotional trust you're building with people is so precious. And I really appreciate your final words, Jason. But Jack, what last messages for my audience?
Yeah, I mean, Jason does an amazing job hiring people for their personalities. And the first thing we do is we look for someone who's going to provide that feeling of making someone feel comfortable when we come to their front door, when they smile, when they start the interaction. And so franchises a lot of times have a negative connotation or mindset from individuals because they think they're thought of as a big corporate entity, and all the Junk Kings are owned locally. There's in every big city across America and some in Canada. And so we know the local owners. We know that everybody will do a great job. And if you have a neighbor or a friend or a coworker that's out there talking about, oh, I'm just overwhelmed by this situation, it may take you weekend after weekend to handle this. If you have 4 kids, a full-time job, a house full of furniture, call the experts. Give us a call. Our corporate call center does great, but junkking.com can educate people. And I promise your listeners would have a great experience. And if they refer us, their friends and family will as well. So thank you so much for having us again.
Both of you, Jason, Jack, Jason, it's just a pleasure to know you and how you're giving back so much to individuals and society. You don't just run a business, but you leave a lasting impact on the community. So it's my honor to have you onto the show, and I wish you both well and continued success. And thank you so much for dropping in.
Thank you.
Our pleasure. Have a great day.